What if you could make money and quit your job just by following 3 principles from the Bible? When I first started in business, I didn't know that you could follow scripture to build a business. And I struggled for years before I ever made money online. And nobody in the church was teaching you how to follow principles from the Bible when it comes to money, business, wealth, finances, whatever it is. Nobody was teaching this stuff. But today I'm going to share 3 principles with you that you can follow to help you build a business God's way and quit your 9-to-5 job. Once I realized what the Bible said about wisdom, wealth, and work, everything changed for me. So I'm going to share these 3 principles with you. Number 3 is my signature framework, so you don't want to miss that. Let's dive in. Number 1, the widow and the oil. This story is packed with so much information and valuable content that you can use to build a business. For context, this is about a widow who lost her husband. He had debt and that debt fell on her. So debt collectors came and said, hey, if you don't pay this debt, we're going to take your sons and they're going to become slaves. So she did what any wise person would do. She went to a mentor, Elijah, and she's like, I need help. And he's like, what do you want me to do for you? And he says, what is in your house? That one question changes everything for her. And she says, your servant has nothing except a jar of oil. Here's the thing. She had that oil before ever going to Elijah. But here's the thing. She didn't realize the value in the oil. She overlooked how valuable it was. And I think a lot of times we are like the widow. We overlook the skills, the wisdom that God has given us to that we can use for building a business, for creating opportunities. We overlook these things. And I believe that if you start to identify the wisdom that God is giving you, you are on your way to building a business and creating opportunities for yourself. Let's dive into this framework. Step 1 is identify your knowledge. This is from 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 2. And this is very important here. Like the widow, she didn't know that the oil was so valuable and the key to her breakthrough. And like I said, this is where you need to identify the knowledge, the wisdom, and skills that God is giving you. Your skills is the key to solving someone else's problems. If you don't solve a problem, you don't get paid. Think about that for a minute. So you have wisdom, you have skills, you have experiences, and you need to identify that and see how that can solve a problem for somebody else. I like to tell my clients and people that I talk to about this stuff that you are a direct reflection of the person you are called to help. You've overcome a problem or some kind of challenge. And now, because you've overcome it, you have those experiences, the wisdom, and the skills that you can use to serve other people. So let's say, for example, you know something about fitness. Create a fitness coaching program. Maybe you lost 50 pounds. Maybe you know something about marriage. Create a program to help married couples. Your breakthrough is already in your hands. You just need to identify the wisdom and skills that God has given you. Number 2, package your offer. This is 2 Kings 4, verse 4. The widow poured the oils into the jars, and that was her packaging her offer. For you, this is going to be maybe your one-on-one coaching program. Maybe you're doing a group coaching program. Whatever it is, you want to package your offer. This is where you have to get into the details of how many calls are you going to do? How often? What are you going to provide in your coaching program? So get clear and specific about what this package program looks like. Step number 3, systemize your tasks. This is where the widow's sons brought her the jars and she poured the oil. That was their process here. So you want to create systems and automations in your business. Now I want you to think about it this way. Systems is something that is done step by step. Automation fulfills that system without manual labor, maybe using software. For example, for you and your business, you want to create systems and automations that would help you to provide value, build trust and connection with your audience. You can do that with email automations, email sequences. So if somebody buys your digital product or gets your free lead magnet, you can provide upfront value with a series of emails that provides value and builds trust, connection, and allows you to make offers. The thing is, this is all automated. You don't want to do this manually. So that is the key here. We want to automate our system. Maybe you have an automated webinar, which is what you can use to sell your high-ticket coaching program. The key here is setting up systems and automations so that your business runs without you. Step 4 is sustain your treasury. This is 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 7. And this is when Elijah tells the widow to go sell the jars of oil, pay off her debts, and live off the rest. Now for you, we want to focus on paying off debts, yes, but it's more than that. We want to build long-term stability and generational wealth. We want to be able to pass on generational wealth. And we'll talk about that in my framework and how you can do that. But the key here, again, is to focus on stability. You don't want to just earn the cash and not have a plan for it. You want to sustain yourself. And now the key here that we can learn from this story and this passage of scripture is that you already have everything you need in order to succeed. God is giving you the wisdom, experiences, and skills to bless you. That would be something that you can use to serve other people. Number 2, King Solomon's content strategy. This is one of my favorite things to talk about because it's so applicable and something that you can apply right now in your business. This content strategy will help you build your business. Hear me when I say this. So this stems from 1 Kings chapter 4, 32 through 34. And it talks about King Solomon and how he wrote 3,000 proverbs and his songs were 1,005. He documented everything that he learned and had wisdom on, right? He talked about plants, trees, and animals and life. That was his content. And because he shared his wisdom publicly, he attracted kings from other nations to hear him speak. Here's the principle. No one will seek out your wisdom if you don't share it. No one's going to know you exist if you don't put yourself out there. Using social media, using platforms like YouTube. King Solomon shows us a 3-step content strategy that I follow every single day and every single week when I post content. So let me share it with you. Step 1, create and document publicly. This is one of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to creating content because documenting is one of my favorite strategies for putting yourself out there, building trust, and building an audience. But we see that there's a difference here. Creating versus documenting. So what is the difference? Creating is more polished, intentional content. Whereas documenting is more behind the scenes and sharing the process of building your business. I do both. Every Friday, I post a vlog where I'm documenting the process of building my business. And then on Sundays, I share a more polished video. So find what works for you and stay consistent with that. Step 2, build an audience with value. You see, Solomon didn't chase people. Nowadays, we have people on social media who are chasing views and chasing likes and chasing all the metrics, the things that don't really matter. All of that stuff is vanity. What we want to do is we want to provide value. We want to attract the people that we are called to serve. We have wisdom, right? And that wisdom solves a problem for a certain specific person. So how do you do that? You attract them by sharing your knowledge. When you share your knowledge and document and create content, you are going to attract people to you, just like Solomon did. And his wisdom attracted his people. Consistency builds attention. Value builds trust. So when you are putting yourself out there, when you're creating valuable content, when you are consistent with putting out content, you are eventually going to build an audience. Just imagine posting 3,000 times before ever going viral or before ever building a successful business. King Solomon wrote 3,000 proverbs before someone or before the nations started to hear about him. Step 3 is make offers. This is where the money comes in. This is actually from 1 Kings chapter 10, 24 and 25. And it tells us that kings from other nations came to consult King Solomon. Listen to this. And then it says that they came to hear the wisdom that God had given Solomon. You are no different. God is giving you wisdom, experiences, and skills that people will come and consult you so that they can solve a problem. Not only that, they paid him. In verse 25, it talks about how they paid him year after year in silver, gold, garments, animals, and spices. That is monetization. People honor wisdom that changes their life. Listen to that. Wisdom is actually skill. So when you think about your skills, will it change somebody's life and give them a transformation that they desire? When you share value consistently, people will naturally want deeper access to you. So keep showing up, keep putting out valuable content, and keep sharing the things that God has taught you and help somebody else have a transformation that you've already had. Number 3, this is the Royal Wealth Framework. This is my signature framework from Mark chapter 12, verse 1. And it starts off with a story that Jesus tells. And it says here, a man planted a vineyard. He built a wall around it. He dug a wine press, and then he leased it out. This is a business blueprint, and there are 4 phases for this framework, so let's break it down. Phase 1 is the royal foundation. Just like the farmer who planted a vineyard, he had to start with a foundation. So the same is true for you. For you and your business, your foundation is going to consist of defining your offer. Who is your offer for? Think of the one person, the one problem, the one promise, the one path, and the one price for your offer. Get very clear and very specific. You also want to clarify your message. Who are you speaking to? You're not speaking to everybody, because if you're speaking to everybody, you're speaking to no one. And then lastly, your content strategy. We already talked about that, right? This is where you can create and document your journey in building your business and sharing more polished work. When you have the experiences and when you have the wisdom, create the content. When you're just starting out, or if you want to share more behind the scenes of building your business to build trust and connection with your audience, document the journey. So you already have the skill, you have identified that, you have the content strategy. Now you need to define your offer. Who are you going to help and how are you going to help them? What is the transformation? Phase 2 is the Royal Wealth Fortress. This is more advanced, but this is something that you can easily do as time goes on. Just like the man who built a wall around his vineyard, we want to build a financial wall for ourselves. What that looks like now is having an LLC, having a trust, and cash value life insurance policies. This is what's going to allow you to protect your assets and be able to pass on all of your assets for generations to come. This is Proverbs 13:22 at its core. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And so for you, you want to protect yourself. You want to build a financial fortress so that you can pass on generational wealth for your children. Phase 3 is the Royal Order. This is where the farmer built a wine press. That was a system that would help him to crush the grapes, right? But the same principle applies for you too. It's about creating systems and automations for your business. We talked about this. This might be setting up email sequences, an automated webinar, or setting up mini chats so that way you can get your leads to DM you or comment a keyword, and you can automatically send them a product or some kind of free product. So the key here is to set up systems so that we can buy back our time. This is from Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 and 16. And it says, "See ye then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil." Redeeming the time means to rescue from loss. You want to buy back your time so that you have more freedom to focus on the things that actually matter. I don't know about you, but I don't want to build a business that requires me to work 60 to 80 hours a week. I'd rather work 20 hours per week so that I can commit my time to the things that the Lord wants me to do, spend more time with my family and friends, and create experiences. So set up a system and automation so that way your business runs without you. Phase 4 is the King's Treasury. This is where the man in the story leased his vineyard. For you, this is about creating offers, right? He created an offer. For you specifically, this might be your one-on-one high-ticket coaching program, your high-ticket group coaching program. Maybe you're creating a course, a PDF, or some kind of digital asset. We want to create offers here. And then from there, very important here, we want to scale. So if you have a one-on-one coaching program and it's doing really well, how can we scale that? We want to do group coaching. Maybe we double your prices. So right here is where we focus on creating offers and scaling. So this is the Royal Wealth Framework, and I hope that you found some value in this. I just love how scripture is full of principles and processes and frameworks that we can follow to build a business. And the best part is that the principles are simple, repeatable, and powerful. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I post faith-based content helping you to build your faith and your business. And be sure to smash that like button and comment down below your takeaway. I'd love to know what principle really stood out to you. Before you go though, I posted episode 15 of the Diary of a Christian Entrepreneur. This is where I talk about partnership with God and when it comes to building your business. So be sure to check that out. I hope that it blesses you. I will see you in the next video.